nangyari. I mean, if you were watching the news last month, not a lot of movement in the crypto space. Actually, October was a very positive month for crypto, for Bitcoin, for Ethereum prices. Pero ngayon, just in the past day or so, biglang bumagsak. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But let's play the ad first, bago ko makalimutan.
Bibili ka ng PC, most likely kailangan ng Windows. Pero saan ka kukuha ng legit Windows? Daming options, daming prices. Baka nito.
Buti na lang, may cdkeyoffers.com.
Madali lang ang order.
Search for the software you need, add to cart, daan ka sa payment options nila.
Wala pang 5 minutes, finished! May legit working CDK ka na para sa Windows mo.
Gamitin lang aming code para makakuha pa ng discounts.
Kaya kung naghahanap ka ng legit, mura, at original software,
Check out cdkeyoffers.com.
Sup, Moniker? Sup, Zedekiah? Okay naman yung audio? I'm using, just technical note, I'm experimenting with using the Godox Lav mic, which I usually use for the videos. I do have a Elgato Wave 1 here, pero wala siyang stand. So if you notice, when I do live streams, parang I'm always holding it. And according to Ren, I look like nagkakaraoke ako. So I'm trying to experiment with using this now. Although the Wave 1 is still very useful if I need to do voiceover for videos. It is nice to have my hands free though. And also I can manipulate, like I need to check my notes up here, my other monitor and things like that. Sup, Reverend Jan? Maybe you should focus on your job. I mean, this stream won't be going anywhere. Actually, I don't anticipate a lot of viewers. It is a alanganin hour right after lunch on a Wednesday. But I did want to do this stream early or right now actually para masabi ko na bumagsak yung prices before the stream. As our regular viewers know, I'm medyo always an optimist. And then when I do the episode, usually parang medyo mababa yung prices. So I'll say na, oh, time to buy. And then pagkatapos ng episode, the prices will drop pa some more. So I really wanted to do this video, this stream now, habang bumabagsak pa lang siya or nagsimula na yung price fall before the video so that I can honestly say that walang coincidence to. Like, it didn't drop after the stream. It was already dropping prior to the stream. Sup, Ren? Sup, Darkside Chan? Oh, sup, Zen N? Sup, Kenny G? Let me go back to the... Yun. So... Sup? You know, I'm not super... I should really start going onto the Discord more often. There's like just so many things going on. I can't... And I also don't know the ins and outs of Discord. So ang daming... Like when I turn on my Discord account for Hardware Sugar, parang daming notifications and stuff. I do know it is a very active server, and that's thanks to the efforts of Rocky, Ren, Jay, and everybody else on our staff who work on the Discord or who really, it's not even work for them anymore. Parang it's like they genuinely, they take their free time and they like hanging out in the Discord, which I would do also if I still had some free time left to me. Pero yeah, I do want to check into the Discord more often. So what's going on? Why are prices down? And it's just been in the past day or so. Actually, yun nga, we'll talk about it in a little bit. Noong last month, October, maganda yung performance ng Bitcoin, maganda yung performance ng Ethereum. I have some numbers that we'll share later. Pero for the most part, it was pretty stable at around 20K, over slightly above 20K, which is a reasonable floor. I mean, I didn't think it would much go beyond that. Although recently, in the past day or so, FTX, which is the third largest exchange in the world, apparently may reports na nagkakaproblema with withdrawals. So people have been trying to withdraw from them, tapos mabagal, several hours. And then to compound that, so FTX is the exchange. I'm not too familiar with it, to be honest. I don't use it for my own trading, although apparently it's the third largest in the world. FTX is the exchange. They also have a coin of their own called FTT. Tapos itong si Binance, I noticed like the younger kids like to call it Binance, but I'm just gonna call it Binance. I don't know. When I first heard it, parang yung pronunciation sa akin Binance. So unless Zhao mismo comes to tell me na Binance yun, I'm just gonna go with how it sounded like in my head. So Binance apparently owned some shares before in FTX, and they received FTT because of those shares. So, over time they accumulated FTT also. Binance tweeted, and it's not clear to me if they tweeted before all of the liquidity problems. Liquidity meaning basically cash on hand. So people are wondering now, liquid pa ba? May cash on hand? May crypto pa ba on hand yung FTX? Kasi nahihirapan nga sila sa mga withdrawals. It's like if you went to a BPI and then suddenly the teller couldn't transact your withdrawal kasi wala ng pera yung banko. For exchanges, for banks, liquidity is a big thing because customers are always concerned na, do you have I gave you my crypto, I gave you my cash, do you actually have that on hand if I want to withdraw it? Obviously, nobody wants to be the last guy to withdraw na wala nang laman wala nang pera yung banko. So it's unclear to me if Binance tweeted this before or after the reports of FTX's liquidity problems were going on. But Binance apparently tweeted na we will start to sell off our FTT. And they positioned it as parang it's just a routine kind of post because Binance, at least based on the reports I read, had already sold off its shares in FTX. And so selling off the FTT was just a natural consequence of that. Parang they were just doing, since nag-exit na kami sa FTX, mag-exit na rin kami sa FTT, which is the coin of FTX. And so they tweeted that, and so that sent everybody into like a tailspin na parang there were rumors already of FTX's liquidity problems. Plus you have Binance, basically the top dog now in crypto saying that they're going to sell off FTT. So it really sent prices or interest in FTX, the shares of FTX and the price of FTT tumbling down. They refuted. So the owner of FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, I'm just going to call him Sam. Sam, of course, tweeted na everything is fine. Binance is just trying to take advantage of the situation. Although I guess that might have been, as an indication that the liquidity problems or liquidity concerns came before the tweet from Binance. Sam said everything was fine. We have enough money to cover everybody's withdrawals, and the withdrawal queue is starting to catch up. So the time that you're waiting for a withdrawal is starting to come down. So there was a whole public spat between. Sorry, I'm just going through the pool. Yes, they are very much so. Feel free to post it in the PM forum or sa Discord server. There's this one. Hindi lang sa Discord. Rocky the Programmer is pretty much a bully even in real life. So we're just gonna leave that comment up here. So everybody's concerned now about FTX, the third world's largest crypto exchange. That does it have the money on hand? And I don't like. Siguro if you're a customer, parang kung kinabahan ka, magwi-withdraw ka na, and that's really like a chicken and an egg thing when it comes to bank runs, exchange runs. Na they might be solid at first, but if everybody wants to withdraw at the same time, and even big banks are only required a certain percentage of liquidity. It's not like the banks can keep 100% of the funds they receive on hand at all times because they won't make money. Banks make money of the interest rates when they lend it to other people, not from just holding the cash of other people. So even banks, major banks, are required only a percentage to keep on hand and that's valid liquidity. But the problem with the bank run, with an exchange run, is that it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Once medyo may blood in the water, so to speak, na, oh shit, parang itong exchange na to, may problema, kukunin ko na pera ko, then even though it didn't have any problem before, when a majority of its users, its clients, want to withdraw the funds, withdraw the crypto, withdraw the money, then even though there wasn't a problem before, magkakaroon na talaga nung exchange run or bank run. So that's where things were. And then medyo nagsasagutan si Zhao, the owner of Binance, and si Sam, the owner of FTX, sa Twitter. And it's like, Twitter is like a whole thing, right? And then the whole daming drama about Twitter itself, but people also using it to respond passively aggressively to each other. And in the latest twist, which only was like 12 hours ago or something, Binance has stepped in to buy FTX. Which is, and then we have Sam, the owner of FTX, thanking Binance. So these two figures in crypto, Sam and Zhao, were publicly going at it on Twitter. But now that Binance has stepped in to buy FTX, suddenly it's Sam saying thank you to Zhao and saying that this is best for everybody, and Zhao himself saying that our most important consideration are the users, the clients of FTX. So it's been a really whirlwind kind of thing for the FTX saga, with the current news being that Binance will be buying FTX. Why is the price down of all major currencies, crypto being around 18.4 as we speak, when in October it was around 20.5? Basically people don't like uncertainty, especially with crypto, and everything with crypto is magnified. In traditional markets like the bond markets or the stock market, yes, of course, people react to news, people react to uncertainty, but even more so with the crypto space. And I mentioned before, that's why I like it, na parang everything is times 10. Kung bagsak, bagsak talaga. Pero kung akyat, akyat talaga. It's really crazy times. It's really like a roller coaster. I try to stay away from the drama, to be honest. I try not to trade based on the prevailing winds of the day. So I do try to go for value options, long-term prognosis. But yeah, this was like a major shakeup in the crypto space. No one likes uncertainty, so I do think that's why the prices are down. I'm not familiar on this one. What is the library case? Hang on, let me check. There's a SEC. It lost its case. That's actually good news. I should have. I'll take a look at this more often. I mean, I'll take a look at this more in depth when I go online. So apparently, library is a blockchain-based file centering and payment network, but it lost an SEC case in the States. There was no ICO, so library didn't. And then so since library lost its case before the US SEC, now there are concerns that XRP or Ripple, which also has a case before the US SEC, might meet a similar fate. Sorry, let me just to clarify technicalities. It was the library people against the US SEC before a third-party judge. And the judge sided in favor of library. What this? Although it was a district court, although I can't imagine the USSC. So it was this is a trial court. So there is the Court of Appeals, or parang a circuit court of appeals after that, before the USSC. So the case was basically that the US SEC alleged that library sold unregistered securities. There's a big debate now in the legal world whether crypto is considered a security in the traditional sense, like a share of stock, for instance. The crypto guys like to argue that no, because they want to argue that they're not covered by the same regulations as securities. It is an open-ended question now, although traditional legal analysts will side with the viewpoint that crypto is a security. It does share some basic things, but it's because a lot of people. It's personally, I think the problem also stems from the fact that there is a cryptocurrency, and then there are coins which are treated as shares. For example, in an ICO, in initial coin offering, even the terminology ICO very similar to IPO or initial public offering of shares. That's where I think a lot of people get tripped up, lawyers and non-lawyers alike, because there are projects na cryptocurrency lang talaga, for example, like Bitcoin. And then, but there are cryptocurrencies which have a collaborative aspect where and these are usually DAOs or deregulated things where you own a coin, and that coin is also a representation of your share in the project, that you can use it to vote, one coin, one vote, or whatever ratio or proportion of that the founders have agreed upon. And that's where things become tricky. So in that case, it does become more like a share rather than a currency like what we're used to. But yun nga, a lot of currencies don't have that share or coin aspect. Bitcoin, for example, I mean, you might have 1 million Bitcoin or how many other Bitcoin in the world, but since it's decentralized, none of your Bitcoin can be used to vote on anything. It is a bit different though, because what I mean by decentralized is na there's no one organization calling the shots for Bitcoin. Unlike in decentralized, but there are decentralized projects where there is one non-stock, non-profit, usually organization, and everybody who owns coins can vote when there are proposals. They can propose things, they can vote on things, more akin to a traditional corporate structure. But yeah, see, the terminology gets confused a lot. Decentralized coin versus actual crypto. And I think that's where, so the legal world is only now starting to come up with precedents and rulings and things like that. Basically, magulo talaga. And that fuels the uncertainty around crypto in general. So yeah, that might be another reason why crypto prices have tanked right now. Sup, ITX addict. I do admit, like, I don't want to fall into that trap again, but I do admit that the prices now are quite attractive. Yun nga, in October, it was around 20.5. So we're at 18.4 now. So that's a legit 10% gain right there. You buy now 18.5, you wait until it hits mga 20 or so. And yeah, I mean, that's around slightly below 10% gain. Yeah, I am tempted to buy. But sa Panito Mayor. But yeah, so that's the major news right now in the crypto space. FTX having liquidity problems or having perceived liquidity problems. Binance saying that, oh, we're gonna start selling off our holdings in FTT, which is the coin of FTX. And then everything culminating in Binance announcing a couple of hours ago that, yeah, you know what, we're just gonna go buy FTX. And the owners of Binance and FTX going at each other over Twitter. But now that Binance has said that they're gonna buy FTX, Sam, the owner of FTX, seems to be hunky-dory with everything, thanking Binance for stepping in. So wild up and down, crazy. But, you know, I say crazy times in the crypto space, but when is it not crazy, right? I mean, there's always something. Last month was an aberration where I said same on for the crypto space. Let me just run the ad again before I forget, because I did promise we have a for CDK, our primary sponsor. One of the parts of our deal is that for 2 live streams every month, we'll play the ad in the middle. We were actually a bit remiss on that front. Last month, we only did one where we played it in the middle. Although we were planning to, but we were having technical difficulties with the stream from the shop. So, you know, I just told CDK na, we'll just do 3 in November. So I'm really trying to hit that now. So catch you after the break.
Bibili ka ng PC, most likely kailangan ng Windows. Pero saan ka kukuha ng legit Windows? daming options, daming prices. Nakakalito.
Buti na lang, may cdkeyoffers.com.
Madali lang ang order.
Search for the software you need, add to cart, daan ka sa payment options nila.
Wala pang 5 minutes, finished! May legit working CDK ka na para sa Windows mo.
Gamitin ang aming code para makakuha pa ng discounts.
Kaya kung naghahanap ka ng legit, mura, at original software,
Check out cdkeyoffers.com.
Moving on to other news in the crypto space. These are just like random tidbits. The main thing really was Binance and FTX and FTT and Zhao and Sam going at each other, and the resulting fracas basically dragging markets down. Although the library ruling was a pretty good news tip. Thank you, Shawarem Mondehar. Just two news tidbits for me aside from that. Apparently, Chinese intelligence agents, so basically like Chinese spies, were caught last month. This is not super new news. I think it was I have it. I think I saw this I saw this last month, but or a couple of weeks ago. I was gonna include it in the podcast, and we do have a regular podcast now every Friday. Please do check it out if you're looking for tech news that's a bit less in your face about the jargon. And we also cover local things like local meetups, local content creators, and things like that. So we have our weekly podcast, Tech Show But Friendly, drops every Friday. I was going to include this on one of the episodes, but then I thought let's just include it in Cryptowatch kasi mas bagay. So basically, 2 Chinese spies were caught in the US trying to obtain information about the US government's case against Huawei. So the US government filed suit against Huawei, I think supposedly for espionage, or parang their hardware had backdoors which would allow Chinese intelligence access to whatever data is flowing through that hardware. So matagal na itong kaso na to against Huawei. The US government doesn't use Huawei products anymore, but there is a suit against them. And then apparently Chinese spies were trying to gather information about the suit. So they tried to buy, basically parang lumapit sila sa isang US DOJ. Was it a DOJ? Well, he was posing as a DOJ, tried bribing a US government official for information. Para bang, uy, pare, pakwento naman. Like, what information does the US government have, and is it going to use in the case? So they tried to bribe a US government official, although it looks like it was an entrapment thing. The US government official was just posing as having information about the Huawei case. And it brings it into the crypto space because the Chinese agents were offering to buy the information, or offering to pay the US government official in Bitcoin. And actually, it was paid. $61,000 worth of Bitcoin was transferred in 2 tranches. First was 20,000, and then the second one was 41,000. So nalipat talaga yung Bitcoin dun sa government official. Although yun nga, parang entrapment siya. Just parang buy bust basically. But instead of drugs, it was supposedly confidential US information about the case against Huawei. And the purported Chinese spies there were chats saying that, you can have the Bitcoin exchanged in casinos in Las Vegas. I can show you how to do it. It's very anonymous there and things like that. So natawa lang ako na, governments are all big on like, let's ban crypto kasi, nefarious people use them, like drug deals on Silk Road and things like that. Kidnapping, guns for hire. As a store of value, because they are nominally untraceable, crypto is often frowned upon by legitimate organizations, including governments. But it's like it works both ways, right? I mean, you can't ban crypto because it's bad for society, but then your other agents, other organs of your government are using it also for bribery, for nefarious ends. And then notorious kasi si China na nag-crack down on crypto. But I guess that hasn't stopped them from using it to try to entice government officials of other countries. And actually, this flows nicely into the next bit of news. China, the government, is a Bitcoin whale. Whale is the term for if you have a lot of holdings in one particular crypto. According to Yong Zhou, who is the owner, co-founder of CryptoQuant, which a lot of people follow, they have data like this, or they track data like this, that the Chinese government has around $3.9 billion worth of Bitcoin from seizures, from, I don't know, they bought it nung baka uso pa yung Bitcoin sa kanila. I mean, when the official stance was that wasn't anti-crypto. So, although that value probably has gone down because that value was assessed prior to the latest price drop. So, that value has gone down, but that's a staggering amount, and that's just Bitcoin. They also have in other currencies. Soon. I've already yes, I've already authorized Ren to buy it, and then we'll just reimburse her. Yeah. What is this? What is this? If ever you want to, but you don't want to, so do I still have to do it? A? More context is needed. I'll just take a quick tech question. Ask ko lang about the temporary file sa Windows. Bale, 500GB yung SSD ko. Ang bilis kumain ng gigabyte. Yes. If it's in temporary files, like temporary internet files, you can delete all of those files if you need to free up space for your drive. So, yes. If it's in folders like temporary internet files and things like that, yes, those can be deleted without any problems or any concerns. You might not want to delete the cookies just for your convenience. The websites that you go to track you using those things. So baka for your convenience, you don't want to delete the cookies. And they're really very small, so they won't make an impact basically on a 500GB drive. Where is Sup, Kaiser? I explained that I wanted to do it now para di ako masisi na bumagsak yung prices after the stream. So the prices were already dropping prior to the stream. So I did want to do it now. And then the schedule just kind of worked out because my kids are asleep now, and I haven't had lunch yet. So I was just working all throughout the day, haven't had lunch yet. But now seemed like a good time. And then yung nga, mainit yung balita na Binance will be buying FTX. So I just wanted to kind of like jump on the news, and then like anybody who wants to watch later can on the replay. But like a confluence of factors like led me to let's do Cryptowatch now. So according to CryptoQuant co-founder Kyong Ju, aside from the Chinese government holding $3.9 billion worth of Bitcoin, they also have 833,000 Ethereum. That's around roughly $1.2 billion. And then several other unnamed digital assets. So most of this is probably from seizures. But if they wanted to bribe people with Bitcoin, they certainly have a large war chest to go about doing it. That $61,000 worth of Bitcoin was just a drop in the ocean of Bitcoin that is open to the Chinese government. And again, it's kind of surprising that they would still have this, considering that they're anti-crypto. Although baka nga that's their stance na we're just gonna hold on to this until the end of the world. Basically, we're not gonna touch this. I have no idea what the Chinese government wants to do with that. Although interestingly, they're allowing Hong Kong to come up with pro-crypto legislation. Hong Kong basically lock in step now with the Chinese government after the takeover during the pandemic. Nominally, it was supposed to be two systems, one country policy regarding Hong Kong, but the Chinese basically reneged on that and used the lockdowns and the pandemic last year as an opportunity to really tighten its grip on Hong Kong. So there is no independent legislature anymore in Hong Kong. You could argue there hasn't been one for a very long time, but geopolitically, China has subsumed or has absorbed Hong Kong back into itself. which is kind of surprising now that the Hong Kong legislature is signaling that they might be issuing pro crypto regulations or issuing regulations that make it legal again to trade crypto or things like that. Perhaps China experimenting with a policy that, sige, Hong Kong is still nominally an independent entity, or you can do things in Hong Kong that you can't do in China. So parang Vegas in that sense, or certain states do certain policies. Certain states in the US, since they're federal, the states can have different laws that are different from the federal government, from other states. And perhaps China is experimenting with that here in Hong Kong, where they're going to come up with regulations, kuno, that will be pro-crypto, which is very contrary to the public stance of the main Chinese government. So an interesting time to be observing that scene. Like, will Hong Kong allow crypto exchanges again? Although, yun nga, the Chinese government is no stranger to crypto and holding crypto because they are one of the major holders. The news even goes on to point out that they hold more than MicroStrategy. Or there's one company like 2 years ago that made a big splash. Now we're going to be investing in crypto, in Bitcoin for the long term. MicroStrategy or things like that. Or somewhat along those lines for the name. So the Chinese government even holds more than a bullish company. But if this whole news about Bitcoin and things like that, the drop in Bitcoin value has gotten you depressed and you don't want to look at your holdings, which, to be honest, I have days like that where I just don't want to look at my coins because everybody's still down. It might be small comfort to note that Andreessen Horowitz, the noted the noted venture capital firm in the States, they do have a crypto fund, and it lost $4.5 billion reportedly, 40% of its value in the first half of 2022. So even if very smart guys, because if you're in VC, you're supposedly very smart, or you're playing around with a lot of money. A lot of analysis supposedly goes into that. So even if a top tier VC firm like Andreessen, wondering how you pronounce this first name, Andreessen Horowitz, Andreessen and then Horowitz, can screw up or can misjudge the markets to that extent, then it's okay to give yourself a pass. It's really very hard to jump in at the right time and jump out at the right time. And even if it happens to the professionals, then it can happen to us too. But as I always say with crypto, those are just paper losses. Just hold on to them. You never know. Like Dogecoin. Look at this goddamn Dogecoin. It plummeted like a couple of months ago. I remember because I sold out because I was thinking it'll never attain its previous highs because Elon is basically over it. There's no intrinsic value in it. It's just a meme coin basically. But now with Elon back in Twitter, suddenly Dogecoin is up, up, up. So general advice with crypto. Sorry, this is not an advice show. Let me just be very clear about that because I don't want to get in trouble legally or whatever. This is just my personal take on the news and my personal experience also trading with crypto, that you never can tell. They're just paper losses. So number one, don't put in money that you can't afford to lose. Number two, if you're losing, don't panic. Usually, the best avenue is to just hold it, and 2 years down the line, check it again. Let's see. Baka naman nag-improve na siya. But definitely don't put in your life savings. Definitely don't put in the money you set aside for your kids' tuition, things like that, pampakain mo. Actually, that's why I'm not eating now kasi wala na akong pera kasi bumagsak yung Bitcoin. So, trabaho na lang muna bago lunch because there is no lunch. But don't yung konting amount lang. It's really like a gamble. Tingin ko talaga sugal yun. And it's just like poker. You try to place your bets where you think at the time that you think would be a good time based on what you have. But yeah, you don't push everything. You don't gamble everything when you're playing for fun. Ganun din sa crypto. Well, rendering, you don't really need. I'd go for more for size. For 10K, you can get maybe a 27-incher that would be decent. You don't need a high refresh rate monitor for that one. So yeah, I'd go. You could probably get like a 27-incher. Although at Hardware Sugar, we aim more towards gaming. So our monitors are a bit pricey, but because they hit like 165 hertz for 24 inches, things like that. Yeah, our 27-inchers are like 20,000, 24,000 because nga they are 165 hertz and they're from ASUS. But you could probably get a decent 27-incher for around 10,000 pesos. Wait for the Lazada, the 11/11 sale coming up. Usually a lot of good deals there. We do have a recent video where we did the 3 cheapest gaming monitors on Lazada. They were around 6,000 or so for 24 inches. So you could probably get a 27-incher for around 10,000 if you're lucky with the discount. Yeah, so that's the news. I just wanted to also go through some numbers to round out the stream because prior to all of this kaguluhan with FTX and the library ruling, crypto prices were pretty good actually. And this is seen in October. I'm just going to read off key points from. I trade usually with Kraken, which is a crypto exchange, and they send me monthly reports on their take on the crypto prices. That's generally where I do like to read off their information on Cryptowatch because they do have good info. Like, for example, in October, Bitcoin gained 6%. 6%. Historically, October is a positive month for Bitcoin, and roughly it gains around 15% usually. Last month, it only gained 6%. Ethereum gained 20% for last month. So 20% on any investment is pretty darn good. 6% also. I mean, you can get I think a TD now is around 4.5%. This is Singapore rates. Like you can get a time deposit in Singapore 4.5% for 6 months. But if you had done it at the right time, you do that in 1 month with Bitcoin. But again, it's always like getting it right? Meme coin. I mentioned Dogecoin kanina. Dogecoin had a huge uptick last month. It gained 114%. Crazy Elon Musk. You never know what Elon Musk is gonna do, and like ang daming ripples like with what he does. So Dogecoin, he had an interest in it before. Suddenly he's back in the news buying Twitter, and the Dogecoin is way up because it's all speculation basically that Elon's attention will eventually turn around to Dogecoin. I haven't seen any specific news that he has any plans for Dogecoin, but you wouldn't know that from the price. NFT market still down. OpenSea, average daily users and average daily transactions fell by 11% and 14% respectively month on month. Not a good look. NFTs were really big a year ago maybe, but interest has really dried up. Except for Reddit. Reddit has been doing well with its NFTs because you can dress up the avatars, your avatar on Reddit. I'm not a big Reddit user, but I was just following the news that they've monetized very well. And I think it's an interesting news story because Reddit, not really known as a financial or crypto company, kind of an old legacy company even, kind of old media company. But it took its time with NFTs. It tailored it to the usage of its users, to how its users, what its users like, what its users appreciate, how they really interact with the avatars. And now they have a booming NFT sideline. So I think that's an example of not jumping in right away, but using the technology kung saan bagay. Yung hirap kasi when you jump on the bandwagon, it's like, oh, everybody crypto, oh, everybody NFT. Pero hindi naman bagay sa use case mo. But in this case, Reddit took its time. It didn't jump in right away to actually use NFTs for something na bagay. Yeah, for personalized hats or whatever na sa avatar, which people really have a connection to, have an affinity. If you're a heavy Reddit user, you see your avatar a lot. It's your avatar, literally, like how other people can see you on the platform. So there's an incentive to use that NFT. Hindi lang for speculation, hindi lang like, oh, I'm gonna buy this because 10 days later it's gonna be 10%, it's gonna rise by 10%. Mas organic yung approach to the NFT, which I think a lot of companies can learn from, na not just jumping on the bandwagon, but using the technology to provide value for their users. So props to Reddit for doing that. And they are bucking the negative trend of NFTs sinking in value and losing interest, or people losing interest in the NFTs. Just scrolling through the report from Kraken. Yeah, Bitcoin difficulty also went up in October. It hit a new all-time high. There was actually a slight decrease in September by around 2%, but it hit an all-time high in October, meaning miners are back for Bitcoin. Interest is back up in Bitcoin. So actually, all of the usual external signs were good for Bitcoin, except nga yung nagkagulo si FTX and then Binance now stepping in. So I kind of agree with ITX addicts. Now is a good time to buy. But when have you ever watched the Cryptowatch show where I don't say that, right? Ethereum doing well. So the merger went well. Now Ethereum is using proof of stake. The next upgrade is the Shanghai upgrade, which is supposed to be in 2023. So they're starting to do the tests for that already. In fairness to Ethereum, you can really see that it's there's a plan, there's a progression, and they're trying to make things better. Especially they're trying to improve the volume of the transactions that the network can process, because that's really the major stumbling block, aside from legitimacy and things like that. It's like the volume of transactions, because even the fastest coin now pales in comparison to the number of transactions that Visa and MasterCard can do in 1 second. So for long-term market acceptance, that's really one thing that needs to be solved by any cryptocurrency, and Ethereum is working hard on that. What else? I was reading about so there was like a Solana-based decentralized platform, Mango, and then October 11 last month, it suffered a $100 million exploit. So wild yung crypto space, right? I mean, it's really creative and it's really exciting to watch, but you can really lose your pants on it. So yeah, that was the big news. Yep, that's pretty much it. That was the big news for me from it was the whole Binance, and I can give you the link to the Discord server. How to 4090. This is the Discord server. Actually, about the 4090. So the new, and I'm going to cover this in Tech Show But Friendly this Friday. There are reports now of even 4090s with the native plug, so not the adapter anymore, but the native 16-pin plug, not the adapter anymore with the 3x8 octopus octopus tendrils. Even those with native plugs have experienced fires or damage to their 4090. I think the latest news was like there have been 2 reported at least. Although a lot, and then Johnny Guru of Corsair, a well-respected PSU guy, has already weighed in. But it's really difficult. And there has been no news on from Nvidia about this. Initially, it was like, okay, it's in the adapter, and if you severely bend it, then that greatly increases the chance of a fire or some other damage. But with reports coming in that there are reports coming in that 4090s, even with a native 16-pin plug, are experiencing trouble. that brings everything into question again. Although, again, this is a very small minority of users. And basically, the only advice that everybody seems to agree on is to make sure that the connectors are really secure, like they're really tight in there. It seems like no-brainer advice to make sure that it's plugged in correctly, but it can be very difficult, especially depending on your build, depending on how tight everything is, to really make sure na nakasaksak yun properly. That seems to be the only major advice now that people can agree on. We've done four 4090 builds now in the shop. Thankfully, knock on wood, nobody has reported any problems yet. Sorry, it's 5 now. We've done 5 4090 builds in the shop. So far, no one has reported problems yet. But yeah, that's the general consensus na really make sure you got the wires plugged in real tight there. Like talagang siksik todo talaga. I have been, there have been a lot of updates about Cyberpunk. I do want to actually jump back in and try to see what's going on with it. But maybe Christmas na. Ang daming ang news about Cyberpunk. So I'm trying to remember, like the only thing that stuck with me was na you can have different apartments now, but apparently there have been a lot of other gameplay enhancements to Cyberpunk with the latest patches, and then interest is at an all-time high with the Cyberpunk show on Netflix, and then with the new patch na makes playing it a lot better down now. Yeah, so I have been interested in it. IDX Addict's referring to a central bank digital currency, or basically crypto issued by governments, crypto issued by fiat. I haven't actually been looking into what the UK has been doing, because usually it's China who is big on this with their digital yuan. I haven't, although the digital yuan is only available now to the Chinese, so it's not available on the open market at the moment. I haven't looked into what the UK is doing. I'll make a note to check that out. Yeah. Pretty much what ITX Addict said. It also depends on the price, really. Usually, you can find the 6600 XT cheaper. Although yung nga, yung 3060 Ti performance-wise, kahit mas mahal, it would outpace a 6600 XT generally. But yung nga, depending on, maybe the price is worth it to you. The lower price of the 6600 XT is worth it. Kasi there usually is medyo kind of a big jump in terms of pricing between the two. Generally, if you've noticed, we do have a video now where we check GPU prices and CPU prices, and we'll update that every month. The initial video, wala pang AMD GPUs, but since I was roundly criticized on the internet for not including the AMD GPUs and for being an NVIDIA fanboy, fine, we'll include some NVIDIA AMD GPUs. And in fact, if you look at the spreadsheet, it's open to the public, and I update it in between videos. That spreadsheet is updated, so you don't need to wait for a video about it to check it out. I have started tracking GPU prices there, and if there's one takeaway from that, it's GPU pricing is really variable depending on the shop. So it's really hard to talk in generalities na generally, yeah, okay, the 3060 Ti is more expensive, but then you can probably find a shop na that, you know, is an exception or very close to an exception. Wala talagang uniformity masyado yung GPU prices, at least sa atin. And it's been an interesting experience tracking the prices. I don't use hardware sugar information because I want to keep it unbiased, or, you know, whatever. Prices, everybody gets heated up about prices. So parang I want to remove hardware sugar from that equation. So any information I use in that video is publicly reported from different shops. I don't use my insider information like, oh, alam ko naman yung dealer price niyan, X, pero yung shop na to, ginawang Y, parang ganon. I don't use any of that. all of the information is available publicly, then we just collate it. But it's a real pain in the ass to collate actually kasi yung websites nung ibang shops are really not that great. UI is terrible. The filters are terrible. In fact, I had to go back and redo some stuff kasi mali pala yung filter nila. Like, you filter for NVIDIA cards, pero hindi pala lahat ng NVIDIA cards nila available. Hindi lahat ng NVIDIA cards nila lalabas doon. May mga cards na labas sa filter, even though they're NVIDIA cards. So I had to redo the thing. And then anyways, long story, real pain in the ass. But yeah, for GPU prices, you might want to check out that spreadsheet. It is linked in the video description of that video. I think it was a video 2 videos ago. Bumaba na ba talaga yung GPU prices or something like that. I mean, it's one of the more recent videos, super easy to find it. And then nandun yung link of that Google spreadsheet nandun sa text description. Maybe. But we can do all of them. We can do Wedge, we can do Roy, we can do Joker, and we can do Wash. Although there is one store there na, I think Joker is the one with the good 4080 card, no? But there's one store there, si Roy ata. Sobrang pangit nung inventory nila. Like, GPU-wise, CPU-wise. Like, I don't know how they're still in business, but they're still one of the largest, pinakasikat na stores dito sa atin. So, feeling ko hindi updated yung website nila, which is again another gripe I have against other stores. What kind of, dapat basic na updated yung website. And we do that at Hardware Sugar, even though we're a very small store. I am a little tempted, but let's get first 200K before we get to see what the giveaway will be. Or we can like make it now and then ibibigay lang pag 100K para may incentive din. That's true, and that's another issue I have with the dami kong issue about the sites of other stores is that paminsan they list it as available pero hindi naman, sold out pala. And we know this because we got feedback nga from one customer who inquired with that particular shop. And but so sometimes they list it even though it's not available. Sometimes they list it as limited and you're not quite sure what that means. So you have it on stock, but I should buy it now kasi baka mabusan na. So yeah, it's a mess, and I don't enjoy going through the sites of our competitors. And it's not because they're competitors. I mean, I like looking at tech in general, but it's just that the UI is really kind of bad. Sup, cha? So that's it for Cryptowatch. To be fair, I haven't seen that one. Itong apat na napili ko, okay pa naman. At least, their sites are up. I-reveal mo na yan, Kaiser. Sino yan? This one I hadn't noticed, to be honest. That's it for Cryptowatch, episode 15. Thanks for joining me. If you're joining me on a replay, I hope that you were able to take advantage of the price drop. Because has the price kind of stabilized now? Let me check. It's dropped down slightly. It's around 18.3 now. Ethereum is around 1.3. I would buy now, but again, I would buy now. So, yun. Okay, I'm gonna go have lunch, guys. Thanks for tuning in on the channel. Our latest video yesterday was yung UPS video. Although if you're watching me at 3 in the afternoon, you've probably already seen the UPS video. Rocky, my brother, will be coming out with a sequel to his well-received 200 peso video. So his most recent video was tech accessories worth less than 200 pesos. Now I think he upped the price to 750 or something. So that was a well-received video. So we're leaning into that. Yun. So yes, this is a good point by Moniker. Yeah, ang hirap to... Actually, I'm already thinking out, God willing, we'll expand to another branch. How do we do the inventory, both from a back-end point of view and a front-end point of view? So yeah, that's also something we're considering. And that's a good point. With size comes more problems, but also more opportunities. Stay safe.